guys, my name is Emily, and today I'm going to talk about Dracula by Bram Stoker. Oh my gosh, I don't think I have ever enjoyed a classic as much as I enjoyed Dracula. For reals, this was amazing. Dracula was written in 1897 and is a gothic horror novel written by Bram Stoker. It starts off with Jonathan Harker, a young solicitor traveling to Transylvania to do business with Count Dracula. While at Castle Dracula, Jonathan Harker observes some pretty weird things, like magical ladies that appear out of nowhere, and the Count climbing headfirst down the castle walls. Meanwhile, Jonathan's fiancée, Mena Murray, is off at the lakeside with her BFFL, Lucy Westrina. While the ladies are on vacation, they observe a ship driven by a corpse crash itself into the harbor, and this dog escape, and everyone's like, oh my god, like, how did this happen? And they read the ship log, and it's really, really creepy. Shortly after that, Lucy begins to sleepwalk and to just fall ill, and her former admirer, Dr. Jack Seward, is called to aid Lucy. When Seward realizes how sick Lucy is, he calls on his Professor Van Helsing to just come and assist him. And of course, Professor Van Helsing diagnoses Lucy right away, but won't say why. Obviously, we know why, but the characters are all oblivious to the real diagnosis. After Lucy dies and rises again undead, Van Helsing assembles the team of men who once loved Lucy to kill her. This team consists of Arthur Holmwood, Lucy's fiancé, Dr. Seward, Lucy's doctor, Quincy Morris, Lucy's cowboy American love interest, and Van Helsing himself. Around the same time as all of this, John Harker finally escapes from Castle Dracula and he marries Mena Murray. Mena and Murray join the vampire hunters in their mission to kill Dracula. While the men are being manly, they fail to notice that Mena is falling ill with the same symptoms that Lucy recently died of. When they finally notice, they decide to include Mena in stuff because, you know, she might be useful given that she has this intimate mental connection with Dracula. When the men come to a standstill, they're like, how do we find Dracula's last box? Mena Murray, works out all of the travel options from, where they are to Count Dracula's castle, and she's like, this is probably the route, because logic. She's the brain that saves this whole operation. I really enjoyed Dracula. It is probably my new favorite classic. As much as I love it, I am very conflicted about the portrayal of women in the book, and I feel like it needs to be reread, and I need to do a little bit of research, see what other critics have thought, because obviously, published in 1897, this has been around a long time. Lots of people have been thinking about it. I'm very, very curious what other people have to say. I'm curious what you guys have to say, too. If you have read Dracula, if you've studied Dracula. Here's where I'm sitting, basically. I really enjoyed that Mena kind of saved the day. Because it's an epistolary novel that flips back and forth perspectives with different letters, I really enjoyed that we would get men's perspectives looking at the women, mainly Mena, and then Mena's perspective of, the whole situation and the men and herself. She would reflect on herself and her own situation. But, despite Mena having this kind of badass moment, the women in this novel are stalked and seduced and preyed upon by a man, Count Dracula, but they're also kind of stalked and seduced, at least in the case of Lucy, by the men around them. Lucy had 3 suitors. She was just this kind of object of beauty that all of them were like, yeah, Lucy, she's so great, I want her. But, as a character, Lucy doesn't seem to offer all that much. Maybe she's pretty. She's probably pretty. But what else does she have to offer? There's that to think about. Just the fact that women are the only reason that the men are really motivated to hunt down Dracula. It's like, oh, you touched my thing? Well, I'm gonna touch your things. I'm gonna put holy wafers in your coffins. So there! Also, while women are kind of devalued by the men in the story, it's clear to me as a reader that Mena played a very important role. She assembled the master document from everyone's individual journals. She put it in chronological order, she made it logical, and she made it easy for everyone to have the information. And she was the one that figured out how to find Dracula. She's not really this wifey, useless thing like the men kind of think she is. Something to vaguely think about, and something that vaguely bothered me. When Lucy and potentially Mena transform into this undead vampiric being, they have power. They have significant power. it's pretty clear that the other female vampires, the older female vampires in Dracula's castle, have quite a bit of power too. So the men's motivation to kill Dracula and to end Lucy's life and to prevent Mena from transforming into a vampire, does that come from a place of like, oh hey, you turn into this evil thing that eats children and other people, we're not okay with that? Or does it come from a place like, oh, you're more powerful than me, that threatens my masculinity, I don't know what to do with this, so I'm gonna cut off your head and stuff your mouth full of garlic? Are there pure Christian motivation, like so that her soul will go to heaven? Or is it more a threat to their masculinity to have any sort of female presence that is more powerful and more dangerous than they are? I'm very conflicted by that moment, and if you guys have thoughts, I would love to hear them. I gave Dracula 4 out of 5 stars on Goodreads. I really, really, really liked it. But I'm conflicted about the female characters, and I feel like it bears rereading, it bears some more thinking, it bears some more research, so I couldn't give it 5 out of 5 stars just because I think something can't be perfect if I'm this conflicted about the role of women in it. I look forward to discussions in the comments. Thank you for watching. Bye.